Life is made up of experiences. Experiences shape our perspectives and allow us to pass along knowledge. In this podcast, I sit down with listeners like you and find out that no matter who you are, everyone has a story to tell. I'm Ethan Smith, and this is Life Experienced. My guest this week is Shoykot Mukherjee. Shoykot moved from India to the United States to pursue a graduate degree in engineering mechanics. India is one of the most culturally diverse countries in the world, with almost 800 different languages spoken across its 26 states. I asked Shoykot to describe how his background fits into the cultural diversity of his home country.
So I'm a Bengali. By Bengali, I mean I speak Bengali. My mother tongue is Bengali, and I have, in school, I have learned the basic things in Bengali. And English was my second language. So pretty much I grew up in a small town called Durgapur, which is like a 3 hours drive from Calcutta or Kolkata, it's now called Kolkata. And it's a small town, pretty much like Blacksburg, I would say. It's an industrial town. The town has grew up centering a steel plant. So the way I grew up, I actually grew up in a place because it's a steel plant and people were coming into the town for jobs from through all the parts of India. So I have had friends who are from, say, South India or northern parts who speak different languages, but we used to hang out, be friends, like when we were kids. We used to play football and cricket, which is pretty famous famous sport in India. We used to play that together growing up. So that's how pretty much I grew up in Durgapur. And my parents, so I used to spend lots of time in Durgapur, like I said, in the city, going to school. And during the summers, I used to go to my village. So both my father's side and my mother's side, they live in a village which is like separate villages, which is like hour and a half drive from Durgapur. So I used to spend my summer. Summer vacations, and there is a Durga Puja celebration that the government of Bengal especially grants you some holidays. So we used to spend those times going there, and our relatives from different parts also used to come. And it was fun. It was really interesting. And so that basically that's how I grew up, pretty much.
Shoykot and I discussed growing up in India, where his father was a tax lawyer and his mother studied philosophy and performed recitations of Bengali poetry. His desire to pursue a graduate education developed in high school, where he discovered an affinity for math and science. He's been living in the United States for a little over 3 years, and during that time, he has demonstrated many musical abilities. Here's what he had to say about his development as a musician and his inspirations. You've been involved with a lot of musical things. I mean, that's how we met.
Yes.
We were in the band together.
Yes.
So when did your interest in music begin?
Right.
And how has that changed at all since you've been in graduate school? And what are you doing besides just playing guitar in our band?
So it's very interesting because back in high school, I did not play any instrument.
Wow.
Yeah. So I used to sing, but I did not used to listen to a lot of Western music as well. I used to just listen to Hindi or Bengali music. Robindra Songit is basically a collection of songs by this Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. They used to play in my home and stuff. So these are the songs that I've grown up listening to. But when I went to Jadavpur University for my undergrad, I met many people. And I guess that's kind of the age, like the 18s and 19, 17, 18, 19. That's kind of the age where you get really influenced by the stuff that you get hooked on, right? So you kind of want to be individualistic and you want to kind of relate to something that's greater than you. So I was introduced to music of 60s, 70s, like Pink Floyd, Beatles, and Led Zepp, those kind of stuff. I felt I need to get a guitar.
Wow.
So I.
When was this again? Around what year was this?
So let me see.
That would be difficult for me to try to figure out.
Yeah,
too,
2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not that long ago.
Yeah, 2011, 12.
So you
around.
discovered
Yeah.
1970s and 60s music from the United States.
Yeah.
When
and
in
yeah,
2011.
Yeah, 2011.
That's really interesting to me.
So 2010. Yeah, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
That's that kind of period. And then I decided that I need to get a guitar.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really cool that because I feel like at the time when those artists were performing, it
Yeah.
inspired a lot of people to get into playing guitars.
Yeah.
It's really cool that that's
Yeah.
still happening.
Yeah,
today.
yeah. It's very interesting that my inspiration actually came from that. And I used to just spend like nights listening to like
That's
Pink
okay.
Floyd,
Yeah.
Beatles and stuff. And then, yeah, I did get a guitar. Initially, I was living in this a place with a I guess a senior, and he basically he wasn't from in a different college, but he played guitar. He used to play guitar for a couple of years. So we went to this place in Park Street called Braganza, which is a pretty neat place as well, because I believe the Braganza is probably the oldest musical instrument, Western musical instrument in India. I think I might be wrong, but I think it's right. In Calcutta, so that its place is really interesting. I mean, they make their own guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got a guitar, started doing the basic things like playing, and then for some reason I was really good at it. I mean,
that's okay. Yeah.
I mean,
That's great.
Yeah, in about a month, I really learned a lot of stuff, like
Yeah.
from chords and stuff, and even I found that I could like pick up music and like really jam to a lot of music from there on. And so yeah, these are the kind of initial kind of influences. And also I guess what kind of combined to that was the fact that if you play guitar in your friend circle, you're kind of cool, like everyone wants to hang out with you or invite you to their parties and stuff, and sing together with. And I felt that was kind of the part of the fun, like there's to be a part of something with friends and everyone's enjoying, and you being the kind of one of the reasons that they get to enjoy that. So I felt that was really good as well. So that was these are the pretty much the two main reasons I hooked onto guitar. And why guitar? I would say because pretty much like the guitar is probably the most accessible kind of musical instrument that anyone starts with, right? So আমার দরদি আগে জানলে তোর ভাঙা নৌকায় চড়তাম না.
Recently, you've been playing a lot of things that have Bengali influences.
Yeah.
So when did you start doing that?
Okay, so that is very interesting as well. So Bengali stuff is pretty much, I grew up with it, right?
Yeah.
So I've always listened to it. Whenever I went to my village during when I was a child, they had this festival where baul, or basically they are wandering minstrels who basically sing and talk about love and humanity around in Bengal. So they are called baul. So they basically started, and I used to go to the villages and listen to them. Did not really get the music or what they were saying at that age, but I mean that stayed with me kind of. And here and there, occasionally, when I was in undergrad, I used to play a little bit of that music, but not majorly. I was majorly influenced with the stuff that I talked about, right? And also like Bob Dylan, Pete Seeger, this is a kind of folk rock kind of thing. I used to play a little bit of that as well. But then when I came to US, for the first time, there is something that when you are devoid of something that you have been accustomed to from childhood, you kind of crave that even more. So when I came to US, I kind of realized that I'm really like missing that kind of music, and I really got hooked into it. Shreyoshi also shares a lot of interest in this kind of music and the kind of the literary analysis of the lyrics and stuff. So I was kind of influenced from that as well. and and yeah, pretty much. And I was playing ukulele, and I was like, yeah, ukulele sounds a lot like it can be actually like retuned in a sense to make it like a Bengali instrument, like a dotara. So I did that, and I started playing, and I like gathered some good feedback from people that I was doing good. I don't want to say that I'm really a Bengali folk musician, because
Sure.
that would be injustice to the people who are actually doing it,
Of course.
who are actually in Bengal, who are roaming in trains and stuff. Many people actually, they are not economically too good as well. So I wouldn't say I'm a really musician in Bengali folk. I would just say that I'm a connoisseur, maybe.
Yeah.
Just someone who's interested in that sort of music.
Shaikat's girlfriend Shreyoshi is also from India and is currently pursuing a graduate degree at the University of Minnesota. Their story began in India at their undergraduate institution, but the exact circumstances of their meeting, I'll just let Shaikat tell you about them.
So like I said, Jadavpur University, I would start with the university itself. As the university is pretty much a melting pot of different political ideas. And this is very different from any other university that you would find in India. Any other engineering university would be very, I guess, like professionally oriented towards classes, doing some extracurricular drama activities or something like that. But Jadavpur University is pretty much a melting point of different kind of this kind of political ideas. And you, I mean, once you, and I wouldn't say I was very into that, like when I actually joined the university, but gradually I became friends with a lot of people, and in many kind of concerts and stuff, people used to sing like Bob Dylan songs. Is there? So they are very like timeless, right? In terms of political thinking, Bob Dylan, Pete Seeger kind of stuff. So, and I used to play guitar, so I used to accompany a lot of people, and also like pretty much play and sing like standard like Imagine, Beatles,
Sure.
right? When Nepal had an earthquake, so we were trying to gather money from people, or money or clothes or stuff like that, so that we can send them to Nepal. We were like in the streets, like singing Imagine and guitar and stuff, and trying to get that donations. So these are the kind of things that I was kind of gradually influenced by, and also kind of got into because I used to play music. And then we had Hok Colorab, which is kind of a political which was a political march. Essentially the politics of it is basically one student, she faced basically a sexual violation. And that entire episode was, the university was trying to kind of suppress that entire episode, because it also has a lot to do with the reputation of the university and stuff like that. And we kind of demanded that no, I mean, she deserves a she deserves a chance for her voice to go out, for people to listen to her. And we kind of banged on the vice chancellor. I mean, I wouldn't say banged. That would be pretty violent. We weren't that violent. We were just like shouting slogans and stuff in front of the vice chancellor of Jadavpur University at the time. And then that's how that kind of protest kind of developed. And then one fine day, I was just going to one of those marches with a friend. His name was Obhinandan. And we were kind of going, and Obhinandan knew Shreyoshi. They have met before. So and basically what used to happen was that we used to march during the day, and like during the evening times we used to just like sit in places where the people serve tea, like tea shops, and we used to talk a lot about politics.
Yeah.
And so Bengalis do this a lot. It's called adda.
Okay.
It was like a political discussions, discussions about poetry, music, literature. So this kind of a and around tea shops. So we used to do that
Mhm.
a lot. And this time Obhinandan was like, yeah, I was with Obhinandan, and then he was like, yeah, so let's go to this tea shop and let's talk. And I initially I did not. I mean, I did notice her, but it's not like, yeah, hey, I was super enthusiastic about, and basically I had pretty much nothing to do during that time, and I was like, yeah, let's head to the tea shop. And then I remember she was like, yeah, no, I have something else to do. And I was like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
But then ultimately we ended up going together.
Okay.
And then we were just drinking tea, talking, and I was talking to her about, we pretty much talked about Wes Anderson movies.
Okay.
And Darjeeling Limited was a very favorite movie of mine. And then she also liked that movie, and we were talking about Wes Anderson movies, how we liked it, and talked a little about books I think we have read. And I was talking to her about what's her major and what she kind of plans on doing after that, because she was in her final year as well, like me. And yeah, that's how we talk. And I really liked talking to her. It didn't feel like we met for the first time.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. So yeah, and I came back home. I sent her a friend request on Facebook.
Yeah, of course. Oh, that's what everybody does, right?
Right. And yeah, and then we started chatting on Facebook, and then we set like another time to meet, just us together.
Yeah.
And then we did, and we talked about many things, and that's how we. I mean, in my final year, that's how we used to go to a. I would say the first date that we went to was in the Christmas in the Park Street area. It's the same area where the Braganza, this guitar shop, is. So a lot of people from the faith of Christianity actually live in that area, and the Christmas is really celebrated in a huge,
That's really
passionate manner in that area. So we went there. We went to Fleury's. We talked. Fleury's is basically a bakery which has been existing from the British times in India. It's pretty old. We went to Fleury's. We talked a lot. One of the things that I felt was kind of amazing was that there was never a dearth of anything to not talk about. The conversations just went on like a river without any stagnation. So that was kind of interesting to me. So that was probably the first date.
Yeah.
I would say. And another interesting thing is that we pretty much when we met, we were not looking to actually get into a relationship per se, because firstly I knew that I took my GRE and stuff to TOEFL and stuff, and I knew I was applying here, so there was a lot of uncertainty,
Right.
About about what she's gonna do after her masters, or what I'm gonna do. So this basically, when you're not looking for something, it happens to you. So that's kind of an example for that. So that's pretty much the story.
That's great.
We met, yeah.
As I listened to Shaikat's stories throughout the interview, I was yet again reminded that you never know what life may have in store for you. So remember to keep your options open and enjoy every opportunity that you get. Life Experienced is hosted and produced by Ethan D. Smith and is primarily distributed via D Sound, a decentralized audio sharing platform built on the Steam blockchain. For more information, visit dsound.audio. The music in this podcast is composed by Lee Rosevere and used under Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. For more information, visit freemusicarchive.org. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you like the podcast, be sure to share it with others. If you have an interesting experience that you want to share, please let me know by tweeting at Ethan D. Smith or visiting ethandsmith.com. And for those of you still here, no new relationship would be complete without a grand romantic gesture. Here's Shaikat's.
And then during her birthday, I decided to surprise her
Yeah.
by actually going to her home. So one of my friends, he actually lived just near her.
Okay.
He was a neighbor basically.
Yeah.
So I used him. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna spend the night in your home, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, cool.
Well,
no
what
problem.
can go wrong, right?
Yeah. I was like, so listen, so that's my plan. I want to surprise her.
Mhm.
So yeah, when it was like after, I would say so after so during when it was 12, I just gave her like a call,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, happy birthday, and she was like, yeah. And we kind of we both got that feeling that, yeah, is that it, like yeah. So and I kind of hung up because I knew what I was going to do
Right,
after that, right?
right.
So and so that was it. And after, at around like, I would say, around 1 o'clock in the night or something.
1 in the morning. Wow.
Yeah, 1 in the morning. I called her up. I was like, yeah, just look downstairs. So she was like, yeah, she was like completely, I would say, surprised. She was very surprised. And then, yeah, I made some customized gifts for her.
Mhm.
So I just gave them to her. So I remember what the gift I made. Basically, I put people interesting, or I would say most influential women figures in literature,
Okay.
like Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a kind of a entourage of them,
Yeah.
like a big poster of them, and because she studies literature, right? So and I gave it to her as her birthday
Yeah.
present, and she really liked it as well. So yeah, that was kind of the most, I guess, the interesting thing, adventurous thing.
Right.
I did not imagine I would end up doing that, but I did.
Were her parents home?
Your parents were home.
What did they think about this guy showing up at 1 in the
So,
morning in front of their
Her
house?
mother was probably asleep,
Okay.
but when she opened the doors and
Mm-hmm.
stuff and like keys and stuff were
Yeah.
jingling, and she woke up and she was like, yeah, I don't know to this day what she exactly said to her
Yeah.
mother, but yeah, everything worked out.
That's good.
So yeah, so
that seems like in like all the movies, that seems like the worst nightmare of the parents for a guy to show up and do some grand romantic gesture
right, yeah.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out for you. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And once again, I'm Ethan Smith, reminding you to get out there and experience life.